Devil's Hole is a deep limestone cavern in Nevada that's home to a critically endangered fish species, isolated in hot subterranean waters for thousands of years. Cappaert versus United States pitted the federal government's efforts to protect the Devil's Hole pupfish against the water needs of local cattle ranchers. Devil's Hole is located near Death Valley, but it isn't contiguous with it on the surface. The lake under Devil's Hole, however, is connected to a chain of underground lakes called the Death Valley Lake System. This lake system gradually dried up over the millennia, isolating the fish that evolved into the unique Devil's Hole pupfish. In 1952, President Harry Truman used his authority under the American Antiquities Preservation Act to set aside a 40-acre tract of land around Devil's Hole, making it a detached portion of the Death Valley National Monument. Devil's Hole was fenced off and managed by the National Park Service. Francis and Marilyn Cappaert owned a cattle ranch near Devil's Hole that they irrigated with pumped groundwater. In 1970, the Cappaerts applied for a state permit to increase their water allotment. The Park Service protested that the Cappaerts' well was hydrologically connected to Devil's Hole and that their pumping had decreased the pupfish's spawning area. The state engineer ruled that the federal government had no recorded water rights in Devil's Hole and granted the Cappaerts' permit. The United States sued. It argued that by adding Devil's Hole to Death Valley National Monument, it had reserved the waters attaching to the land to the extent necessary to achieve the purposes of the reservation. The district court issued an injunction preventing the Cappaerts from pumping. The Ninth Circuit affirmed, holding that the implied reservation of water doctrine applied to groundwater. The United States Supreme Court granted cert to examine the scope of this doctrine.